Normally I don't need a microphone, but I was MC for my friend Stag and Doe last night. Stag and Doe just before St. Patrick's Day. Just about lost my voice, so my apologies if the voice goes a little low. My book is available. Let me do what I normally do in front of audiences. We'll cover up the bottom. It is a book about the CBC, CBC Exposed it's called. It exposes lots of the problems at the state broadcaster, which I think lie at the heart of so many of the problems in the country. And I put forward that the solution is to sell CBC. So it is available for sale until I leave at the back for $20 even, and we'll sign it if you want as well. And you can sign up for my email distribution list. I want to thank you guys for inviting me out again. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. There's a lot of people here who have been on my program, who have been inspirations for things that I've talked about. I want to bring up a tidbit that was brought to my attention on byline probably within the last week or two. I'll throw out a number, and some of you I'm sure will correct me, but the official number being floated around for what we spend on official bilingualism is $2.1 billion a year. Correct? Close? Rough? That's the part without all the stuff that's hidden? Okay.
That's what they'll admit to.
More than what we spend now on the Canadian Army. Because the Army's about to get a big cut. Not the military as a whole, but the land forces portion. We are spending more on bilingualism than we're spending on the land portion of our defenses. Shocking. We're just about spending more on the state, or as much on the state broadcaster as we are on the armed forces, on the Army portion of our armed forces. What kind of messed up priorities do we have when that is the emphasis of our government? It's confusing. Beth likes to send me emails talking about our inalienable rights, that we've got rights and that this can include language rights. I think that the Supreme Court has shown that that's not true. I wish it were true, but they've decided otherwise, and our politicians have decided that they will keep it that way. Whether it's the Nguyen decision of several years ago, and that was a case that didn't get a lot of attention outside of Quebec, was francophone parents that said, you know what, we want to send our kids to English schools. Why do you have a law stopping us? You shouldn't be allowed to tell us what language our kids must be educated in. And they went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, well, you know, yeah, it kind of violates your rights, but in a free and democratic society, it does it in a way that we think is okay. And unfortunately, time and again in our society, we have judges that say, yes, what the government is doing violates your rights, but it's allowable. It's due to the Section 1 of the Charter, the you have your rights until we say you don't clause. That's what I call Section 1. And that's what happens with so many of the issues that you in this room care about, is that government will do something and you'll say, well, hold on, I'm a Canadian. I have rights. And they say, oh, yeah, but we don't care. And then you go to court. And then the court says, yeah, you do have rights. And maybe at a lower court they'll say, we'll overturn this law. But then it gets appealed and it goes to the Supreme Court, or in some cases doesn't even make it to the Supreme Court because they won't hear you. And they just say, sure you have those rights, but in a free and democratic society we can take them away. That's wrong. But it happens time and again, whether, as I said, in the Nguyen decision in Quebec, the Whatcott decision recently. The Whatcott decision actually says truth doesn't matter. Now, some of my critics will say, well, you're wrong, Lilley. It doesn't say truth doesn't matter. No, what it says is that truthful statements can be hateful and therefore can't be immune from prosecution. What? And that's the part of the decision. I mean, at this point, I don't even care what Bill Whatcott Flyer said, because Bill will deal with his own fight, and he's got lots of support. But going forward, this decision will be used. I'm being told by people that say they're a lot smarter than me, and they probably are, but that means that they don't think. They're telling me, oh no, this decision will not be used for anything else. This decision won't set precedent. Wrong. The Whatcott decision said, truth doesn't matter, intent doesn't matter, and you don't have to do harm. And you can still be in violation of our human rights apparatus. So what do we do? Well, at the federal level, a bill to get rid of the crazy portion of our Human Rights Act passed the Commons. But it's been stuck in the Senate for 9 months now, I believe. And it's not moving. So you need to call your senators, or any senator from Ontario, and demand that they pass it. You need to put pressure on them. And they're not used to getting phone calls. That's one small thing to reestablish some sanity to our rights system in this country. But long term, what do you do? Well, we need to start electing better people. Sir John A. Macdonald said, once famously said, if you want a better cabinet, send me better wood. Are we sending good wood to Ottawa? No. Are we sending good wood to Queen's Park?
No. No, we're sending a lot of naughty pine.
We're sending driftwood is what we're sending. We're sending driftwood.
Exactly.
People that just go along with whatever. And the worst part are people that say they're conservatives. And then they get in and they've railed against something. They will have railed against something that the Liberals did. And then they get in, or they look like they might get in. And you say, great, so you're going to get rid of that thing that you said was horrible and would be awful for the province? Well, you know, it's the law now.
Yeah.
What we don't need are people that want to conserve the Liberal status quo. We need people that are going to change things. We need people that are going to be radicals in a different way. They're going to be progressives in reverse. That's what we need. The progressives have been inching forward step by step by step, changing this country. And there's a lot of people in this room saying, I want my country back. We've got to elect people that are going to repeal the insanity that the Liberals have been putting in. So it doesn't matter what party they're in, because you can get a progressive in the conservative movement, especially if they're still in the progressive conservative party, which I call the push me, pull me party. You know, you can be conservative or you can be progressive. You cannot be both. But maybe you will find some good conservatives in that party. I'm not saying write them off. I'm just saying check with the person and know who you are backing. And make sure that they're willing to be a progressive in reverse, that they're willing to be radical enough to repeal some of this insanity. Now, use an American example to show that even getting people from the same party but finding better ones can have a huge impact. There was a debate recently in the U.S. Senate on whether the U.S. president had the authority to kill an American citizen on American soil who was not involved in combat with a drone. I'm shocked that this had to be a debate. But Rand Paul, senator for Kentucky, had asked the question several times, had written to the Attorney General because he'd heard statements coming from the White House that, yeah, they could use drones to kill an American on American soil when he's not actively picking up arms and fighting against his own country. And he said, so you're telling me that you can send in a drone strike and kill somebody sitting in a cafe eating breakfast?
Right in here.
And they kind of said, well, yeah, you know, sure, I mean, yeah, we could. And he debated this. And he got support from other senators like Ted Cruz and Tim Scott out of North Carolina, and some of the new, younger conservatives. And then you had guys like John McCain who called him a wacko bird and sided with Barack Obama. They're both in the Republican Party. John McCain and Rand Paul are both in the Republican Party, but John McCain wanted to stand with Barack Obama, saying it's okay to kill your own citizens without trial, without due process, when they're not actively taking up arms. Nobody denies that if you pick up a rifle and go and try and storm Parliament Hill, they don't have to read you your rights and give you a trial. They're going to take you out. But should they be able to send a drone strike into this room and take you all out because you're radicals advocating something different? No. So that had to be the debate. Those senators that I just mentioned all replaced existing Republican senators who would have sided with McCain before. So even changing people inside the party can change things dramatically. So whatever party you support, are you active in their nomination process? At the federal level, I'll tell you, you're not happy with your local MP, They all have open nomination this next election. 2015, not a single one of them is protected. They were all protected during the minority period. You can challenge them all now and either force them to be conservative or replace them. It's that simple. You're not happy with who's there? Challenge them. Whether it's the provincial level, the federal level, the municipal level. Until we change the people and change their thinking, nothing will change legislatively. Thanks for listening to me, and I hope you continue to watch on Byline. You got tons of great more speakers, so we'll let it go.